We've all heard a ghost story or two, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about how they're made? Today, we're not just going to tell a spooky story. Oh no. We're going to take one apart, piece by piece, to see what makes it tick. We're going to uncover the blueprint for a modern horror story, one built from the ground up to go viral online. Ready to see how the sausage gets made? Or, how the scare gets made? Let's do it. Okay, boom. That's the line at the very heart of the story we're looking at today. Anyone who stays in this room ends up dead. I mean, talk about a hook, right? It's simple, it's terrifying, and it grabs you immediately. But here's where things get really interesting. Let's look at another quote from the exact same source. And there it is, right at the beginning of the video. A disclaimer. So, wait a minute. On one hand, you have a life or death threat. On the other, they're telling you, hey, it's all just for fun. That contradiction, that's everything. It's the core question we're going to unpack. How do you perfectly blend genuine horror with just entertainment to create the ultimate digital scare? To figure that out, we need to know where this story came from. Well, let's meet our storytellers. The source is a really popular YouTube channel called Scary Pumpkin. And you can basically think of it as our modern-day campfire. Instead of being out in the woods, we're all huddled around the glow of our screens, sharing stories that give us a very specific kind of thrill. Now, right from the get-go, the channel frames this as a real story. So how do they sell that? That's what we're going to deconstruct. We're going to look past the ghosts for a second and focus on the deliberate, crafty techniques they use to make this story feel so real, so immediate, and so unsettling. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The first and maybe the most important step in telling a great ghost story is making your audience believe it could have actually happened. You have to build this solid foundation of credibility before you even get to the first creepy noise. And that's the million-dollar question for any horror creator, isn't it? How do you blur that line between fiction and reality? Well, the Scary Pumpkin story doesn't just wing it. Oh no, it follows a very clear and very effective blueprint to make you a believer. Okay, check this out, because this slide is basically their entire playbook. First, they anchor the story in the real world, a specific place, Manali, a specific time, November 2007. These are details that feel like you could almost look them up. Then they give us characters with real-sounding names, Swapnil and Pankaj, not just two guys. The horror gets a specific address, room 707, which makes the threat feel so much more contained and intense. And finally, the masterstroke. They just come right out and say it. This is a real story. It's so simple, but man, is it a powerful way to frame everything. So, they've laid down that believable foundation. Now it's time to build the actual scare. This is where the story structure and all those classic horror tricks come out to play, all designed to slowly ramp up the suspense and the terror. Just look at the pacing here. It starts off totally normal. Dinner, they fall asleep, no big deal. Then, 3 a.m. hits. The first crack in reality appears. Footsteps outside the door. 5 minutes later, bam, the lights go out. Total darkness. And just 5 minutes after that, a horrifying scream rips through the silence. See what's happening? This isn't random. It's a methodical escalation, taking you from a subtle sense of dread to outright terror in just 10 minutes. And if we break it down, it's like a greatest hits of horror movie tricks. It all kicks off at 3 a.m., the witching hour. Check. Swapnil is deliberately isolated because his friend is conveniently passed out. Check. The first threats are things you can't see. Footsteps and a scream, which lets your imagination do all the heavy lifting. Double check. And then you got the classic jump scare, a physical touch from something that isn't there. They are hitting every single beat perfectly. So just when the tension is absolutely cranked to the max, this story gives us a moment of release. Swapnil wakes up Pankaj, they throw their stuff in their bags, they check out, they get in the car. The audience, right along with them, finally gets to take a breath. You think, psst, okay, they made it out. But that moment of relief, that's a trap. It's a crucial narrative trick designed to give you a false sense of security right before the final blow. And that's where this story takes its final, absolutely terrifying turn. Because a great ghost story, it doesn't just end, right? It leaves a mark. This is where the tale delivers its knockout punch and, in the process, reveals its true purpose as a piece of digital content. So imagine it. They're driving away, they think they're safe. Pankaj even says something like, "Thank God we could escape." And then a voice from the back seat delivers this devastating line. The ghost wasn't just stuck in room 707, it's in the car with them. The escape was just an illusion. It is a fantastic, chilling twist that pays off the entire setup. So the story of Swapnil and Pankaj ends right there on that insane cliffhanger. But the video itself keeps going. And that right there is the real question, isn't it? What happens after the screen fades to black is just as important as the ghost story itself. Here's the bottom line. This piece of content is doing two jobs at once. This side-by-side really says it all. On one level, the story's purpose is simple, to scare you. But on another, deeper level, the channel's purpose is to get views, to get subscribers, and most importantly, to get more stories. And here it is. The final line of the whole video isn't from the ghost. It's from the creators. After they've completely terrified their audience, they immediately pivot and ask, "Send us your story." In that one moment, the viewer is transformed. You go from being a passive listener to being a potential future content creator for the channel. This brilliant strategy even has a name. It's called the content loop. The story isn't just a story. It's an advertisement for more stories. By asking the audience to contribute, the channel ensures it never runs out of real tales to tell. It creates a perfect, self-perpetuating engine of horror. It's genius. So when you get right down to it, the story of Room 707 is so much more than just a ghost story. It's really a masterclass in modern digital storytelling, where that line between what's real and what's entertainment is intentionally and expertly blurred. And they do it not just to scare you, but to make you a part of the machine. The real mystery, then, isn't whether the ghost is real. It's how aware we are of the sophisticated loops that are designed to keep us watching and creating.